Hello, Father Rich coming to you from my sitting room. We been here before, I think back in the Catholic Customs. I don't remember if we came back over here at all for the How the Church Has Changed the World series. We're here for our next essay called Speaking the Painful Truth. And it highlights a great Catholic fiction writer of the late 1800s, early 1900s. She was from Norway, Sigrid Undset. I have to admit I hadn't heard of her before, but now this essay is and compelled me to want to look up some of her books. She actually had to escape, similar to Dietrich von Hildebrand that we talked about, from Nazi Germany, and ran from Norway because she was one that was speaking out against the Germans and not being conciliatory, and because of that, she was kind of high with von Hildebrand on their kind of hit list. So she did escape till the end of the war to I believe New York, but then came back to Norway and is up there with some of the greatest 20th century writers, and certainly Catholic writers and fiction writers. I come here because this bookshelf has some of the other books that I've and writers that I've enjoyed over the years, and I've mentioned some of them. It has Heinrich Sienkiewicz, with a great Polish writer, fiction writer, Catholic, that kind of helped inspire some of the Polish nationalism to maintain their faith and their identity during the years of not living. It has those books by Louis de Waal, who is one of my favorites and writes these kind of historical fiction novels about the saints. They're not obviously completely fiction, but he kind of incorporates fictional characters and around the history of the story. So I've really enjoyed those. We also have Michael O'Brien, who is really a modern day Catholic, very popular. Many of his books on Ignatius Press, that I have some of his, quite a few of his stories. Hugh Robert Benson, one of my favorite, Robert Hugh Benson, Come Rack, Come Rope is a great, I would recommend highly. Also, actually a book here by Mark Twain on Joan of Arc. He claimed that was his favorite book that he wrote, and on Joan of Arc, because he thought she was such a fascinating character. Suzuki Endo, who this is called the Samurai, but he also wrote a book called Silence, which was made into a movie. We talked about, remember, Martin Scorsese, who's a Catholic filmmaker. That was the book that he made into a movie about 4 or 5 years ago. Graham Greene is another. This is one of his most well-known, The Power and the Glory, and another Catholic fiction writer. So you see the influence of the Catholic writers. And but Sigrid, as I mentioned, Sigrid Undset, she would be, they actually describe her. She won the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature in 1928. She converted to Catholicism in 1924. So she was born in Norway and with the Protestant influence, but yet converted. I think she was the age of 42 at the time. And then she went on to live into the 1940s, I believe. But they really describe her, and even in the description of her Nobel Prize for Literature, they describe her as being an apologist. So really using her writing to show the way that the Christian truth gives ultimate fulfillment to life. And that she was unapologetic about incorporating that into her writings, and this idea of the life in Christ that's the ultimate way to live. So I can't encourage you enough to explore good Catholic, not just apologetics and catechesis and spiritual reading, which we've talked about some of it, and there's an amazing amount out there, but also to use to read Catholic fiction writing as a way to be, again, entertained, but also to have a Catholic kind of spirit to it, and reinforcing the Catholic truths of our faith. So we're grateful for all of these Catholic writers that have used their gifts to help us grow in relationship and faith with God, to learn more about our history, and maybe you can join me in kind of committing to reading a little bit more about Sigrid Undset and to see the ways that she kind of, again, defended the faith through even using Catholic fiction writing. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. God bless.